Not just in PHP, but in programming in general, it's a good idea to be as consistent as possible within your code. Now, PHP isn't exactly the best role model for this. I just took a couple of examples from the PHP manual. We have in array, which determines whether an array contains the given value. And this takes two parameters. It takes needle and then haystack. Note the order, needle, haystack. We then have string position, well, str pos, which stands for string position. And then this takes haystack, then needle, whereas this takes needle and haystack. So there's one inconsistency with PHP right there. So that one was function arguments. This inconsistency is the function name. We have strrev, which stands for string reverse, which just reverses a string. And then we have strreplace, which stands for string replace, and you should already know what this means by now. It just searches for a value, replaces it with a value, and the third parameter is the value that you want to search. Now notice that this function name here doesn't have an underscore to separate the string and the reverse, whereas this function does. So there's another inconsistency. So why is it good to be consistent with your code? Well, not only does it increase maintainability, but it also increases readability. So it's a good thing to be consistent with the following things: function arguments, which we already looked at, function names, which we also already looked at, variable names, and also class interface names. So just a couple examples quickly. Variable names, I was reading some code a while ago, and this guy had a database wrapper, and he had one property called database underscore connection, and then later on he had a variable called stored query. And you probably spotted this already. Here we have snake case, where we just use an underscore to separate two words, and here we use camel case, which just means we capitalize the first letter of the next word. And this guy decided to use them both in the same project, which isn't a good idea. So make sure to stick with one style, whether it be snake case, Pascal case, or camel case, and make sure you stick with it throughout your project. Class interface names. Well, there are two standard conventions to naming an interface, for example. We have user repository interface, and we could also have user repository, which stands for interface. I suppose you could also have interface user repository. I've seen that as well. All of these are perfectly fine. It's just 100% personal preference, but make sure that you pick one of these and you stick with it throughout your whole project. Don't think that this looks nice and then change your mind later on and start using this.